It's an interesting time for business. Tariff and trade policies are dynamic, supply chains are squeezed, and cash flow, it's tighter than ever. If your business can't adapt in real time, you are in a little bit of hurt. So how do you get full visibility and adapt in real time? Over 42,000 businesses trust NetSuite by Oracle, your AI-powered business management suite. It brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all under one roof. NetSuite is the #1 cloud ERP for a reason. It's your single source of truth, giving you the data and control you need to move quickly. Real-time forecasting helps you move into the future with confidence, and with AI built in, you can automate the busy work and focus on strategy. NetSuite helps you see what's stuck, what it's costing you, and how to pivot fast. If I were running a business with a lot of moving parts, I'd use NetSuite for full control over everything. Tame the chaos with NetSuite. If your revenues are at least in the 7 figures, download the free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/SPI. That's netsuite.com/SPI. Congrats, your business is doing great. All your hard work is paying off, but you need help like now, and you have to hire fast. How can you hire amazing candidates quickly? Easy, just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. And with sponsored jobs, your posts jump to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach people you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. One of the things I love most about Indeed is that it has one of the largest databases of job seekers, giving employers access to a wide range of candidates. And with job alerts, I get notified when new candidates apply. And with Indeed sponsored jobs, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. So how fast? Well, in the minute that I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/smartpassive. Just go to Indeed.com/smartpassive right now and support a show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/smartpassive. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, Indeed, is all you need. The perfect product launch. It's the goal for every brand marketer. High heat, fast sellout, and fans posting recipes like trophies. What do Sydney Sweeney's soap drop, Taylor Swift's tickets, and your next launch have in common? Well, they're not bought, they're bragged about. Fanfare turns your drop into a moment. Fanfare cues real fans, blocks bots, and builds launch experiences worth screenshotting. Want hype without the heartbreak? Get Fanfare's 5-step hype drop playbook with our proven success formula and make your next launch unforgettable at fanfare.io/playbook. Again, fanfare.io/playbook.
Yeah, I can't believe it. I think this year to date we have through my code I have about 67 people that have bought Teslas with it.
That's crazy.
Which I mean you're approaching $7 million in product sales through one affiliate. I mean,
guys, affiliate marketing isn't just for referring people to your favorite hosting company or your favorite product on Amazon. Ben Sullins at Teslanomics, which is a YouTube channel, was able to refer 67 people through his code to buy 67 Teslas. And that allowed him to win the brand new Tesla Roadster. We're going to get into that story today, but first let's kick it off with the music. This is episode 301 of the Smart Passive Income Podcast. Stick around.
Welcome to the Smart Passive Income Podcast, where it's all about working hard now so you can sit back and reap the benefits later. And now your host. He still gets so nervous he wants to throw up before speaking on stage, but he gets up there anyway. Pat Flynn.
While DIY website tools are everywhere, most fall short on design and performance. Hit publish. Framer ships your site worldwide in seconds. No code, no compromises. Framer is a powerful, user-friendly platform that delivers developer-level results without writing a single line of code. Make your designs move and convert with Framer. Framer brings your site to life with powerful animations, dynamic content handling, and a design-first approach that helps your site stand out. Framer is the design-first, no-code website builder that lets anyone ship a production-ready site in minutes. Browse hundreds of pixel-perfect templates or even design something of your own on a totally blank canvas. Add bold animations like appear effects, text effects, scroll and looping animations, and much more in seconds. And it's free to start. The built-in AI handles the heavy lifting of generating starter layouts and can even translate your entire site to any language. On the back end, you'll get responsive breakpoints, built-in hosting, a flexible CMS, and privacy-friendly analytics. Ready to build a site that looks hand-coded without hiring a developer? Launch your site for free at Framer.com and use code SPI to get your first month of pro on the house. That's Framer.com, promo code SPI. Framer.com, promo code SPI. Rules and restrictions may apply. Hiring shouldn't be a hassle or a drain on your budget. Upwork is your one-stop shop to find, hire, and pay top freelance talent, saving you time and keeping costs in check all in one place. Companies at every stage turn to Upwork to get things done and find more flexibility in the way that they staff key projects and initiatives by assessing a global marketplace filled with top talent in IT, web development, AI, design, administration support, marketing, and more. And I've personally used them myself and can vouch for them. Posting a job on Upwork is easy. With no cost to join, you can register, browse freelancer profiles, get help drafting a job post, or even book a consultation. From there, you connect with freelancers that get you and can easily hire them to take your business to the next level. Upwork makes the entire process easier, simpler, and more affordable with industry-low fees. Post a job today and hire tomorrow with Upwork. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That is Upwork.com to post your job for free and connect with top talent ready to help your business grow. That's UPWORK.com, Upwork.com. Go there now. What's up, guys? Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Pat Flynn. I'm here to help you make more money, save more time, and help more people too. And before we get started, please make sure you hit subscribe to the podcast because we got some great stuff coming your way. And in today's episode, we're talking with Ben Sullins, the founder of Teslanomics, which isn't what he started out doing. He actually had nothing to do with Teslas. And we're going to talk about how he sort of, I don't want to say accidentally, but how he just stumbled upon these signals in his existing YouTube channel to make a complete shift and pivot into the Tesla space. And as you heard in the beginning, he's been doing very, very well and is doing so well that he was able to refer enough people to get a Tesla Roadster for free, even before we all knew what a Tesla Roadster was. And if you hadn't seen the reveal that Elon Musk made, this is now my new dream car. Besides the DeLorean from Back to the Future, right? But this is now my new dream car, and Ben has it now for free when it becomes available, one of the founders editions. It's just such an incredible story. I was actually fortunate enough to meet Ben in person at one of our San Diego Entrepreneur Group meetups, which happens every first Wednesday of the month in downtown San Diego. He came by, he introduced himself, very humble. I was like, "What do you do?" And he's like, "Oh, well, I do data analysis and data science, and I just am an Excel spreadsheet nerd." And I was like, "Okay, well, what's your YouTube channel?" And he said Teslanomics. And I said, "Tesla, like Tesla the car, like Elon Musk Tesla?" Although he pronounces it in a different way. And we actually get into that a little bit in the show here today because it's just very curious. He says Tesla, and I say Tesla. Potatoes, niche, whatever. But again, we're going to get into his story here. But then he tells me all that he's doing on YouTube and how big he's grown his channel in such a short period of time. I just had to learn more because, as many of you know, I'm getting big into YouTube starting in February. So that's another thing. If you haven't done so already, make sure you check out some of the more recent YouTube videos I'm doing. I'm sort of warming up the subscribers there for a big run starting in February. We're shooting for several videos per week that are going to help you grow your online business. So make sure you follow me on YouTube as well. That's going to be at smartpassiveincome.com/YouTube. And we'll share all these links in the show notes and such later. So we'll get to that. But for now, let's just dive right into the interview with Ben Sullins. Again, Teslanomics. Gosh, he has me saying it Tesla now. Teslanomics. On YouTube, and Teslanomics.co is the website. So here we go. Ben, welcome to the SPI podcast. Thanks for being here, man.
Dude, thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here. Been a fan for a long time, so it's kind of surreal.
I appreciate that. You know, when I met you, I knew we were going to be instant friends when you told me that you had a YouTube channel about Tesla.
Yes.
Because Tesla is one of my favorite things, and it's the closest to having a DeLorean that I can have right now in terms of like the Tesla X. But anyway.
Yeah.
You have an amazing story. You talked about it a little at one of our San Diego Entrepreneur Group meetups, and I just knew that I had to get you on the show. So I'm really excited to dive into that. But before that, like, tell us a little bit before you got into Teslanomics and the stuff that you do now. Kind of what were you doing beforehand?
Yeah, so I've been in the kind of data science field for a long time. I was basically an Excel junkie and geek back in the late 90s. Working at the time, what was a tech company called MCI, the phone company. Mm-hmm. And, you know, people always talk about follow your passion, find something you love, that kind of thing. And I believe a lot in that. And that's what really kept me with it. So I found I loved working with data and numbers. And back then it was very rudimentary. Mm-hmm. But throughout all the years of my corporate career, I always focused on that. I never deviated from data and figuring out how to use data to basically make better decisions. Typically, that was for companies to, increase profit margins or things like that. So I spent about 18 years in corporate America in the field of data science in one, role or another. Had a lot of fun. I really did. I did a lot of consulting in Silicon Valley. I worked at Facebook. I worked at Mozilla. Did a lot of consulting with Google and all these different companies. Really fun time. But then actually, I think listening to you on SPI was one of the things that got me start thinking about how can I make more time in my life? How can I have more flexibility? And of course, it's all about residual income and passive income and these kind of things. So fast forward to when I was working at a company called Pluralsight. They are an online training company. So kind of like lynda.com. I know you've talked about them before. I'm sure you're familiar. And I started making courses for them, online courses on data science type topics. And there, the royalty, the revenue split is really low, but they basically have the audience, right? So they do all the marketing for you, all the sales, all the processing of that. So you just make the content. Started making online courses for them. Did a number of them. Finally, actually joined them as their chief data officer. Was there for 2 years. Started an office here in San Diego, and then when my son was born, when he was about 6 months old, decided all right, that was enough of corporate life. Almost 18 years, kind of shackled to the desk, and it was time to make a change. Not because I wanted more money, but because I wanted more time. And I was fortunate. I think I had 13 online courses, and I was able to leave my corporate life behind and venture into this world of digital entrepreneurship.
And those were courses about data analytics.
Yeah, everything from how to do something in Excel, how to present information better, to how to configure a Hadoop cluster. Hadoop is the big data. Yeah, exactly, right? Something way advanced and crazy that, big data engineers use, right? So I made a lot of courses on kind of everything in that whole space.
Okay, and so these were online courses. How many students overall would you say you had between all those at that time?
Oh, man. Even today, because, they're still generating income. I think I get about 7,000 to 10,000 students a month.
What? That's a lot of students. And this is driven by the marketplace you're in.
Yeah. So with Pluralsight, and now I have 16 courses with lynda.com as well. So total, I have 29 online courses. But, those platforms have giant audiences, right? I don't know what the public figures are, but some upwards of 500,000 members on Pluralsight, and probably several million on Lynda, because now they're a part of LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. So, when somebody watches it, I'll get 5,000 to 5,000 people a month or something that go through the course, but it's not like I were selling 5,000 copies of the course if it were 100% my own, right? So the royalty model is quite different. But yeah, a lot of people take it, and that helped spur kind of, listening to you talk about how this stuff works as an independent creator. It really kind of motivated me to then go and say, okay, what can I do in addition to this that is 100% my own, that I'm not really, dependent upon one of these platforms, because who knows what'll happen to them.
Yeah, I think that's really smart. You want to have full control over kind of what you're doing, and at any moment in time, these platforms can part ways with you or what have you. But it's great, and it's cool that they're still working for you kind of passively as you have this other focus. Now, let's transition a little bit into a little bit more of the Tesla stuff. How did this even enter the picture? Because what you just told me is nothing what I what I see you doing now.
Right. So this is all about, I think, listening to the signals, right? Or finding those signals that can really change your direction. And part of what I was doing with YouTube at the time, prior to doing the Tesla stuff, was I was doing these little teaser videos like, hey, check out this really cool tip in Excel, and then go watch my online course. And nobody cared. Basically, nobody on YouTube cared at all. If I got 1,000 views on a video, that was like a success. Mm-hmm. But in YouTube terms, that's absolutely nothing. So what I did was, my wife asked me a question one time, because we had bought a Tesla the year prior, and I had kind of sold her on this idea of, well, hey, we're going to save a ton in gas money because it's electricity, yada yada. And she said, okay, data guy, show me the numbers, prove it to me.
Show me the numbers.
Right. I even have a mug. Let's do the numbers.
Nice.
So I took that and I said, oh man, okay, I really got to figure this out. And I was interested myself, like, okay, Tesla advertises this, let's figure it out. So I did the math. I looked at gas prices in San Diego. I looked at how much I had driven. I looked at how much we had paid in electricity. And I basically did a really poorly produced video on a 720p webcam with horrible lighting, me talking through a spreadsheet. And it was just, here's how I calculated it, and in the end, like, here's how much money we were saving by having a Tesla. It was about 40%, which is significant. But if you don't drive because you work from home, it really doesn't add up to a lot of dollars, right? And that video in the first week on YouTube had something like 200,000 views.
What? And how did that happen?
Well, as I've learned, YouTube, it's all about the algorithm and the things it likes. And so I think what in the Tesla space at the time, and still is this way, there was obviously a huge amount of interest, right? People that love Tesla are really, really into it. And there weren't really, now Tesla themselves don't do a lot of marketing. They don't do advertising or any of that stuff. So a video about Tesla that in my case was personal, right? Because it told you how much money you're going to save by owning a Tesla, which is something like people love stuff that's all about them. And it was real. Like, I'm showing you data. This isn't just like my opinion. I think it really landed well with a lot of people. And then YouTube sees that and then they recommend it. So, from there, that absolutely went bonkers. And, I'm being a data guy, I'm freaking out and I'm going, wow, okay, what is it? So then that's when I first got my first hint that maybe I should talk more about Tesla on YouTube.
Yeah. And we'll get into kind of what happened next. But let's go back a little bit. 200,000 views in a week. You had said it's because of the algorithm and it kind of jived with a lot of people. It landed well with them. Can you define what that means in terms of what does it mean to land well with somebody on YouTube?
Yeah. So in YouTube terms, the stuff I've learned now, and I'm still learning every day, but the big thing is watch time. Likes, dislikes, comments are all secondary. That stuff helps, but it certainly is not the main factor when YouTube looks at a video and whether or not it wants to recommend it. And so the title of the video is, what is the monthly cost of a Tesla? The image is a Tesla and it says monthly cost in text in the actual image. So it all matches, right? All that's very good. And YouTube loves that. Then when people watched it, the retention rate was really high, meaning people watch, almost to the end. And that is what they love because the more time people spend on YouTube, the more ads YouTube can show them. And so the more money the creator makes, more money YouTube makes. So that's kind of the main thing. And so looking at the data on that, I mean, the retention rate was much higher on that video than even today, a lot of my other videos. And so that's where I think, it landing well, that's what I mean by that.
Why do you think that video had such a high retention rate?
I think it's because the subject of the video is something that it's an answer to a question that people have. It is directly kind of to something, people want Teslas, right? But they don't know these details because Tesla doesn't really share them. Or if they do, they're sometimes unbelievable, right? Some of these things Elon kind of promises a lot. And so here's like a real person that is, sharing real data. So it's valid, it's legit, it's not like made up. And it's something that they are personally interested in. So I think all those factors combined, like if you look at the production quality, it was horrible. It was really bad.
And that's a big lesson for everybody right there.
Yeah. Well, YouTube is a thing. You can find a lot of videos out there that have really poor production quality, but they just ring, really well with people. It's either something that personally that makes them feel good, or it's an answer to a question that they've had. I don't know about you, how many times I search for an answer to something on YouTube or on Google, and I end up on a YouTube video it's like really bad, but it gives me the answer I want. So good, So I think that's a really interesting lesson about video production is that yes, people when you have a certain level of success on YouTube, people expect high quality video, but the YouTube algorithm doesn't necessarily care about that as much.
Yeah, I agree. It's all about watch time. As many of you who are listening to this know, I'm going pretty big on YouTube as well, so I'm trying to follow Ben's lead a little bit. I'm asking a lot of these questions for selfish reasons too, but no, I know a lot of you are interested as well. My thought on that video in particular is when you tell people, okay, well, here's like, what's the cost? Like, people want that answer, and the whole video is this gap that you were just closing in on the entire time, right? And the answer finally comes. at the end, and people can engage because they drive a certain amount versus how much you drive. They pay a certain amount for gas in their place versus how much you pay. So they're kind of like comparing themselves to you along the way. Because I've done videos before that I thought were great, that I thought were going to be huge, and they weren't, and people leave before they get to the part in the video where actually I felt that they would like want to stick. So I'm learning a lot about retention and keeping people engaged too. Okay, so this video explodes. You have these courses that are about something, mostly completely different. What's going through your head, and what decisions do you make?
Well, I still was in the tunnel of, wow, people love me talking about data, which was wrong. So I make a couple more videos, and I think at the time this was November 2016. So we're talking election time, right? And I'm thinking, oh, what a great thing. It's super popular in the news. I'll do my data science thing and really break down the numbers. Nobody cares. Nobody wanted to see those videos.
And what kind of videos were those?
Well, it was looking at like polling results, and I don't know if you follow 538. They have a great, data science team, and there's lots of information about how to actually try to predict things and all that. So I was kind of parsing some of that data and coming up with the visualizations. I mean, this is what I do, and yeah, nobody really cared. But it's funny because I really tried to step up the production value. I still basically had no clue. Then I made another Tesla video. I thought, okay, maybe it's not me talking about data. Maybe it's not, these things. Maybe it's Tesla itself. And so I did a video. I forget which one it was. It was like a Model S versus Mercedes C-Class or E-Class or something like that. And what I did is I broke down the cost differences, right? Like here's the retail price. Here's what you'll pay in maintenance. Here's what you'll pay in insurance. And here's what you pay in fuel. In the end, here's the total cost of ownership. Surprise, surprise, the Tesla's actually a lot cheaper. That video, again, to the first week had over 100,000 views. And I'm like, man, okay, so this is
just trying to tell you something right now.
Yeah, the universe is banging me over the head with a hammer going, hey, dummy, and so then I really started to get the hint. Made another video, very similar, Tesla something versus Tesla something else. Did really well the first week or so. And then in the new year, in January of 2017 of this year or last year or whatever, that's when I decided, all right, I'm just going to rebrand the channel. I mean, I think I had 800 subscribers. It was still very tiny and really not going anywhere. But I'm like, all right, let me just rebrand it so when people come here, they know they're going to get stuff related to Tesla. So if you see the name, okay, great. So hopefully that'll encourage people to subscribe because they'll know that what the theme is of the channel is something that they're interested in. And so, in January, I kind of pivoted the focus and said, all right, I'm just going to talk about Tesla, but I'm going to do it in my way, which is looking at the numbers of things, not looking at the flashy sex appeal of this stuff, which is hard to ignore, obviously. but I wanted to bring my perspective on it, right? Looking at the costs, looking at other factors and things like that. So,
no, I love it. I mean, this is a perfect example of taking the superpower that you have, which is data, and putting it into something that, obviously a lot of people also enjoy, and coming at it in a completely brand new angle, which allows you to stand out, which is great. So the name of the channel is what?
Teslanomics.
Teslanomics, like economics, yeah. Teslanomics.
It's a play on Freakonomics, the podcast, if you've listened to that one at all. Yeah, cool. I'm a huge fan of those guys.
I love those guys too, yeah.
Yeah, and so that was, I was talking with a friend. I'm like, well, I want to do economics in Tesla. I'm like, why don't you call it Teslanomics? Like, bing. And there was nothing out there. Actually, someone else still has the .com domain, and it's to like some forum that's been dead for years. I'm like, fine, whatever. I don't care. Google doesn't care about domain names that much. It's more about SEO stuff and all that. So, yeah.
I think we have to address the big elephant in the room right now, which is, and I don't know if you know what I'm about to say, but the fact that you say it Tesla and most people say Tesla.
Yes.
Why?
Yes. Okay. So, I don't know why. I don't know if there's actually an answer to why. It's just how I pronounce it. But I'll say this. Elon actually talked about this in an interview in, I think, 2012, because he says it the way I do. And so does Franz Hollhausen, the chief designer,
what a name.
who has a very German name, but he's just a dude from Connecticut. So that's his words, not mine. So we all say it the same way. So I kind of argue, hey, if Elon says it the same way I do, and so does Franz, I can't be too far off, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know why. So the difference was cars versus boys. Like if you look at these, two words, they have a soft S or a pronounced S or something like that.
Yeah.
I was reading some linguist talked about it, and they basically said, you're talking about the name of a company that was founded in America, so you shouldn't really worry about the Serbian American inventors pronunciation and all that. So, but yeah, I do get a ton of comments on it. I even did a funny video where I went to my wife's hair salon and I interviewed 10 of the stylists and said, hey, just pronounce it. And yeah, 7 out of the 10 pronounce it with a soft S, and only 3, which I may have coerced a little bit into pronouncing it my way. So yeah, it's definitely, I guess, that. Yeah. So, but hey, it's like something special, I guess.
No, I love it. I mean, I struggle with niche versus niche. I get a lot of flack for both. So it's, and now I interchange it, which is probably something I shouldn't do.
Well, the real question is it GIF or GIF?
I say GIF.
GIF.
Animated GIF, right? Who says animated GIF?
I do.
GIF is a peanut butter.
Well, right. And see, again, though, the guy that interviewed, or the guy that created it, I don't know if you ever saw that, but they interviewed him and asked him. And he says it's GIF like the peanut butter. However, whatever. People, whatever's the most popular way to say it, that's what was.
It's actually GIF. It's
yeah,
actually,
right.
Nobody gets it right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's keep going here. Okay, so in January you rebrand, and then what? What is your life like at this point, and like your regularity in this brand?
Yeah, so I'm still making online courses at the time, which is taking up a lot of time, as you know. They're a lot of work, and so I'm still kind of pushing on that flywheel. And then I'm now producing. I think I was doing 1 video a week at the time. So I amped that up, and me trying not to do it all myself, I hire an editor very quickly. I realized that that's not my strong suit, and so I could easily just pay somebody that is much more efficient for me. So I find a guy on Upwork. He's fantastic. We've been working actually together since then. Nice. Ironically, we just met face to face at the semi truck unveil in LA a couple weeks ago.
Oh, you were there?
Or whatever that was, a month ago or so. Yeah.
Semi-truck / Roadster reveal?
Yeah.
We'll get into that in a minute.
We'll get there. So I'm doing 1 video a week. I have an editor, and then I'm doing online courses still, which my online course schedule was pretty intense. Because I think I did 16 online courses this year, or in a 12-month span. I think it was September to September. So
with your Tesla stuff and your videos, how far ahead are you planning?
Oh man, I have a Trello board that has probably several months worth of videos to make, but the hard part is that the news cycle with Tesla goes up and down, so quickly that I'm really about 2 to 3 weeks out in reality.
Can you talk more about that? Like, what do you mean about that? Why is that important?
Well, so for example, right, I had planned on doing a video. Before the semi-truck unveil, I had maybe 5 videos I had done for the semi-truck. And because I wanted, as the news cycle around the Tesla kind of came onto YouTube, I wanted to be the guy that if you searched anything Tesla semi, I was there. And so I had a lot of what I hope to see, how it could affect the industry, what could it possibly all these things, as much as you can possibly do. If you follow any of the big tech reviewers like MKBHD, guys like that, they do it all, right? So there's 5 or 6 videos before the next phone comes out or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then when you go search, bam, they have all this content related. So I was really trying to plan in advance. And the most perfect example was I had actually filmed 90% of a video about the Tesla Semi, because there were all these leaks, there were all this data, and we basically had this whole video put together about okay, well, how much money could they possibly make? How many could they sell? What's the industry like? All these things. And then when they unveiled it, the details were so wildly beyond any of the leaks or anything that I had to completely scrap the video and redo the whole thing. Yeah. So I was trying, so I try to plan as much as I can, but Tesla is so kind of tight-lipped about these details of these things that you can't make a lot of the content until it comes out. And as soon as those details come out, you want to be there because especially like my audience expects me to, talk about these things now. So, it's really hard to plan too far in advance just because of how quickly things change in the Tesla kind of world.
Yeah, that makes sense. And how big is your audience now on this brand?
Yeah, on YouTube, we have approaching 55,000 subscribers. And the number of people watching per month is much higher, though. We're close to 1 million views per month. So sort of like in YouTube terms, punching out of my weight class, I guess is a way to put it. Right. There's a lot of channels out there. Like I have a lot of friends with 200,000 subscribers, but they're only getting, 500,000 views per month. So I think it's a really weird kind of interesting thing. Still, something like 80% of my views come from non-subscribers. Which is a really good sign on YouTube terms because that means that YouTube is suggesting your video to people that are not already subscribed to you. So I think and that actually holds true for I have friends with millions of followers and they still have that ratio. Like 85% of their views are from non-subscribers. Mm-hmm. So it's a really interesting thing about like, when you take the version of this, like in the digital marketing world, you think about like how big is your email list, right? And my email list is, I don't know, like 13,000 now, which I feel pretty good about. At the beginning of the year, it was 0. So yeah, there you go. But in terms of YouTube, there's like subscribers versus views, and those things aren't always directly correlated.
Right. And first of all, to start off with 800 subscribers when you were talking about data, to now 55,000 subscribers, like what is in your mind, like how do you feel about that?
I feel like it's the only thing I've ever done in the social media world that's worked. I've tried to have Facebook pages and Twitter and this stuff, and it's almost, I think you had an interview with Clay from Lead Pages, I think, and he talked about it. He said, like, you have to master one thing at a time, right? Like one of the fallacies was trying to do like all these different things. And so, this growth, it makes me feel amazing, but it also is another clear signal of like YouTube is my thing, right? Like I've tried podcasting, I've tried all these other things, and it's like, there's probably a lot of things I'm not doing right that could do better, but YouTube works for me. So if anything, that's like just the clearest signal for me that that's where I belong.
I love that. And that's a great reminder for everybody. If you haven't heard that episode yet, to go and listen to it. It's a game changer. Actually, the most downloads in the shortest period of time with over, I think, 400,000 downloads in just a month of that episode, which is a pretty abnormal for the SPI podcast. That's episode 263 with Clay Collins, smartpassiveincome.com/session 263. We'll link to that in the show notes, obviously, and thank you for bringing that up. Now, okay, so you're going gangbusters with the Tesla stuff and creating videos. You're getting millions of views a month now. How does that translate to business? How does that translate to life and dollars, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, totally. So the YouTube money is the YouTube AdSense is pretty small. I think you get around $2,000, $2,000 to $3,000 for every million views. So still, even at 1 million views a month, $2,000 to $3,000, depending on where the views come from, not enough to really, support living in San Diego, right? It costs a bit more than that. So what I've tried to do is to bring that community from YouTube into a more private space by joining my email list, and then from there working with other creators to bring opportunities to them that they'll find value in. So hosting online events or promoting other people's online courses, or I still have this notion of creating my own online course, but at the end of the year and all this other stuff, it'll probably happen early next year. So really trying to basically create opportunities and things for these folks that they will like, that make sense, that are kind of in line with the Tesla stuff and what they're interested in, to kind of monetize and grow it as a business outside of YouTube, because just on YouTube alone through AdSense is really not sustainable unless you're like Jake Paul or somebody like that.
This is true. And, I've gone to video conferences and such and met a lot of people who have millions of views, millions of subscribers, but they don't have anything outside of that. They're only relying on AdSense income, which is really scary. And also kind of like crazy to me because you have that many people who follow you.
Yeah.
You can do things to serve them even more, which will help pay you even more in a way that you have more control. So it's really cool to see that you're doing that. Do you mind going into depth about, some of the things that you're doing to do that beyond the email list? Like you mentioned this online summit thing. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So I recently did TeslaCon, and so this was the first online summit.
You created this.
I created it, yeah, because I sat down with a friend of mine who's another digital entrepreneur, and we talked about it. And he teaches software developers how to be cool, so he has a lot of things about like how to dress or something like that, how to pass an interview, like personal development type stuff. So there's an obvious kind of value there, right? And so I came to him and I said, what can I do here with this audience? And I think I'd grown the list to almost 10,000 at the time. And I said, all right, well, I make online courses, but they're all data stuff. So I don't know how directly related that is to this audience. So I did a survey and I asked them, and I think I got about 500 or so people that said, yeah, they want a free first copy of it or first chapter, and they're interested. So 500 people, if, 10% of them signed up or something, that could be an option, right? Mm-hmm. But it seemed a little adjunct. It seemed a little, not directly related. Like people follow me and join my thing for Tesla. And this is not Tesla stuff. It's like another online course for data something. And so that's still in my mind because there are enough people that like have, could use these skills, but that's not directly related. So the other idea I had was about creating a summit, an online summit for Tesla fans. And the reason I wanted to do it online is because we did this in person where me and a bunch of other, we call ourselves Tesla YouTubers. Yes. We all got together at a tour, or actually at the Model 3 handover event, and then at the Tesla VIP factory tour that we all went on. And we live streamed it, and people went bananas over it. They were like, oh my God, you guys are all friends and you're all together in the same space. Like, I want to come to that. And then I started looking into a physical conference, and holy cow, it's insane how complex and how much money it takes and how much time and how many people to do a physical conference. Yeah. And so I thought that's lame. I'm into technology. This everybody found me through YouTube or through my website. So yeah, let's do this in a more modern way. And so I created TeslaCon, the first ever web-based conference for EV and Tesla fans. And essentially you get to hear from and interact with your favorite creators directly. So unlike, a physical conference where, Pat, you get up there and speak for an hour and then maybe you take 5 questions and you're done. This is like much more intimate and much more direct, where the questions that the person answers are voted on. And so only the most popular questions pop up. So that, I think, when I saw that platform and I started to get into that, I was like, this is really cool. And so that's what, my first digital product, I guess you could say, is for the TeslaCon or the Teslanomics audience. What
platform were you using to host that?
Crowdcast. Yeah.
And how did it go?
It went great. We're still waiting on replays and some other features and things like that to come in. But yeah, I mean, the thing that is a bit tough about it is that people want everything for free, especially online stuff. Mm-hmm. So they had a hard time with paying $200 was the average price for it. So there was a bit of a rub there, but we hit our goal of 100 sales, and
that's awesome.
I mean, yeah, at first, because it's a really weird thing, because, if I got 100 views on a video on YouTube, I would be devastated. I'd be like, oh my God, what did I do wrong? Right. But, 100 people paying $200 to come to an event, awesome, right? So that was the first time we'll do that. Probably do it again, but going to take some lessons there from how it went and everything.
What is one big takeaway, something that you wish you had done differently?
I wish I had hired more people to help with some of the organization and some of the, there are so many things to do of just updating people on the agenda, creating pages for these things, all those things are just, it's insurmountable, right? It's just too much and things fall through the cracks. So I wish I would have hired more people to help kind of all the administrative stuff like that.
But despite there being a few hiccups here and there, glad you did it?
Yeah, totally. I just think, for me, I still, I don't look at the vanity metrics as much about, we made X amount of dollars or this or that. I look at more at how did people really feel? Like was it a good thing? Because if it was a really good thing and people really loved it, then I know we have something special. And whether or not we reached 1 million people or not, I think is something that you can work on, right? Mm-hmm. But if you have something that's not good in the beginning and it really doesn't like land well with people, then trying to scale that isn't going to go anywhere. So I'm happy about the positive response in the community that we're building and stuff.
That's awesome. I'm stoked to see it grow even bigger. I'm stoked to see other products that you might be coming out with because I'm obviously a Tesla fan myself too.
Yeah.
Speaking of Tesla, do you have a relationship with them?
Not officially. I do know some people that work there, and I've talked to the PR team a few times. And I guess through the referral program, I have a contact that I work with through them. But that's kind of any customer, anybody that has a referral can do that.
Yeah.
But officially, does Tesla support or work with Teslanomics? No. And I think that's kind of just their standard policy, right? Like they're very Apple-like, I guess, in that way.
Yeah, although you wouldn't be able to create a website called Applenomics because of the trademark. So I'm curious to know, related to your trademark, if you don't mind sharing, how do you deal with that possibility or, with that?
Well, before I officially rebranded the name or the channel to Teslanomics, I looked at kind of what was out there already, and there's websites like Teslarati, and there are other channels called Like Tesla and Everything Tesla, and there are lots of their trademark or their name is widely used by many properties and stuff. And I looked and I hadn't seen anything about anybody getting sued over it or anything like that. So I felt, okay, I'm going to try it and we'll see how it goes.
Cool.
If they tell me I have to change, fine. We're still small and early. It's not like, I've been doing this for 10 years and it's not Coca-Cola, right? It's a small brand that's growing. And so in talking with their PR team, generally their view that they've shared with me is that they're supportive of people that are doing what we do, spreading information and helping people understand EVs and Tesla and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I honestly think this is my opinion. I don't think it's important enough for them to worry about. Like there are so many giant things that they're trying to do.
Yeah, they kind of have a bunch of cars to get out and.
Right. That this is like, do we even want to pay a lawyer to write a letter to a guy who has a YouTube channel with, compared to how big they are, tiny, right? I'm not even a molecule.
Well, you're also actually helping people.
Right.
And we know this because through the program that Tesla has, which is really cool. When I got a Tesla, I was quite surprised to realize that they have an affiliate program they call it a referral program. Where you could go through my link, for example, buy a Tesla, I get something, you get a little bit of discount too. And so when did you start promoting that through your channels? And tell us kind of what happened next.
Yeah. So the referral program, once you own a Tesla, like you said, you can share your link, people use it to buy a Tesla and you get prizes. I started promoting it. So in January of 2017, they announced the first person to 20 in each region, North America being one of the regions, gets a free P100D Model S or X. And so with that giant carrot in front of you and me deciding to now just solely focus on Tesla, I thought, yeah, let's go. I'm going to do it. And so I started promoting it in January. And honestly, I didn't really see any traction until about June. So okay. There's a real big kind of lead there. I think I had 4 or 5 referrals.
It's a big investment.
Yeah. I mean, I'm asking people to buy $100,000 on average product, right? So it's not like a $200 or $1,000 here. This is like a major thing. So not something people just write a check for and don't worry about it.
Right.
So that was when I started, but then it really picked up when they announced the current version of the program, which the grand prize was a free next gen Roadster. And I was kind of blown away when I saw it. It was a joke at first because it was like, oh, well, every person you refer will give you a 2% discount. And you're like, okay, cool. So I got like 2 or 3 referrals. I'm like, yay, I only have like, 45 more to go.
Yeah.
So it just seemed insurmountable. And at the time the channel really started to grow. I was seeing like, 6,000 to 7,000 new subscribers every month. That's when I finally hit like 500,000 views a month, 600,000 views a month, and it really started to pick up. And I actually used some of your tactics and stuff on how to promote this and really kind of grow that group within my list, and then nurture them to the point where they actually use my code to buy. And so, I mean, the whole workflow was like, go to my website, fill out this type form. Mm-hmm. And at the time, Tesla had a weird thing where they said, so super weird. Somebody was upset on Twitter about YouTubers pushing their referral code. Because like this should only be for Tesla owners, it should be special. And so Elon responded and said, we're going to put a stop to that. And me and a lot of the other folks were like, oh, like that was total buzzkill for us. And a few YouTubers actually got letters from Tesla or emails from Tesla and said, hey, take your code off your channel. Otherwise, we're basically going to invalidate any of the referrals you've given us. None of the prizes will come out, whatever. And so that was a big bummer. Then at one of the events, I forget which one of the events, me and a few of the other folks met the guy that runs the referral program. And we talked to him about it. And he said, the problem was that people were taking out billboards with their code. And people were doing Google ads for their codes. And that wasn't the intent of it, right? They didn't want to make this a marketing tool for people to make money on. And so they saw a giant flood of essentially malicious or, whatever disingenuous usage of the code. And so that's what they were really trying to clamp down on.
Makes sense.
Then they updated their program just a few weeks after that conversation and said, YouTube is okay. Right. They said, as long as you're doing something good and you're being honest, you can be critical. We're not, playing that game. But just as long as you're not basically trying to do this for profit and you're doing it, it kind of with some altruistic intent, we're all good. And so from that moment on, it was like, all right, let's go. And I created the type form which said you have to be my friend in order to get my code. I had a video. I play flamenco guitar. So there's a video of me playing flamenco guitar. And then I asked, hey, tell me something about yourself, right? Tell me something about you so I know. So I've had like 2,000 people fill this out. I haven't even went through all the responses. Some of them are pretty funny. But with that, you filled it out. Now you're on my list. Now you get an email. And now you're in an email sequence, which is, here's the code. And then a week later, how'd it go? Did your order go through? 2 weeks later, if you didn't open that one, are you still there? Like, did it, how's it going? And so a lot of times what would happen is people would go get the code. Then they wouldn't order, but they would get the email. How'd your order go? Then they would respond personally, say, oh, man, I'm waiting on this. I still have questions about this. And then I would go back and forth with them over email. I mean, sometimes dozens of times. And then eventually they would use my code and buy. And that's when I think I saw like a real, spike in kind of the number of referrals I was getting.
Yeah, that's great. Oftentimes with these larger ticket items, this is obviously like a huge one. People are going to have questions. They're gonna question the purchase, and if you are there on the other end helping them through those questions and can provide those answers, well, they're going to want to go through your link when you convince them, and not convince them in a slimy way, but just truly answer their questions because that's what they need to be convinced. So big lesson for all of you out there. And this is why when I promote products often, I'll say, hey, by the way, if you have any questions, like, please let me know. Because I know that when people have questions, they're interested. They just need a little bit of help before pushing forward and following through. Okay, so there's this carrot in front of you now. It's not the 100. It's the Roadster, which, the original Tesla was a Roadster built on a Lotus chassis. And then it was like discontinued. And so you hear news that there's a new Roadster coming out. You don't know what it looks like. It's never been revealed, but you won.
I won.
You won. Like after a certain amount of referrals that came in, 50 or however many.
55. It was a 5 referral ante to get into the secret level, which is where you get the Roadster. And then it was each one then from there on gave you a 2% discount. So you needed 50. So 55.
Okay.
And I actually, 2 more have slipped in. I've got 57. So I don't know if that gets me 104% discount.
Yeah, you get money and a Roadster. And so how are you feeling when you realize through these referrals and through these conversations that you were getting this brand new Roadster that we don't even know what it looks like yet?
It was very unreal at the time because, like you said, there were basically no details. There was like one person that had done a mock-up, and that was it. It was a super just a story about how, like, for YouTube, I wanted to make sure that I got my real honest reaction to this. And so I had to like move the app on my phone, which shows you your number of referrals, to a different folder. I had to hide it for myself so I wouldn't check it because I didn't want to then go try to act in front of the camera because I'm not good at that.
Because you knew you were getting close.
Yeah, I mean, as in the beginning, it was very like, ha ha ha, only 40 more to go, and then towards the end, I'm like, holy crap, I'm almost there. And so, when I was, I think, at 54 and you need 55, that's when I said, okay, I need to make sure that I get my reaction on camera. So I would come into my studio each morning, fire up all the cameras and everything, hit record, and then go check. That way it was a real honest reaction. And remember, I was getting like 2 or 3 a day, so it could happen at any moment. So that's why I had to be very diligent about recording my reaction and stuff. Uh-huh. When it happened, I knew it was coming, and I was overjoyed, but it still felt not real, because there were still no details about it, like in the referral program, the way it works, I've won officially 2 Powerwalls. But it's been over a year and I still haven't got them. So it was very kind of like, yes, amazing. Wait.
What does this really mean?
Yeah. Like, okay, maybe I'll get it in 5 years. Who knows, right? And it wasn't real until I went to the Tesla Semi event and they unveiled it.
Oh, it's so crazy that you were there. It was so perfect. So for everybody listening right now, this is what happened. So nobody knows about this Roadster. Nobody knows when it's coming out. Nobody hears any news. And then they have this reveal that Elon leads in like a keynote, and they reveal the semi-truck, which is going to change the trucking industry. And they go through all the details of that, and then you think the thing is over, and all of a sudden there's like a second presentation, and out the back of one of these semi-trucks comes one of these new Roadsters. And you see it with your own eyes, and you think,
yeah,
that's mine.
My first thought was, everybody get away from my car. That was my
and it has like some ridiculous specs, like 0 to 60 in 1.9, and just, oh man, you're going to be flying. And I saw some people
620-mile range.
Yeah, 650-mile range. Like that's
620.
620. Yeah, that's stupid. That's ridiculous.
You could drive from here in San Diego to San Francisco without having to stop.
And back most of the way.
Yeah.
Without having to stop. Anyway, we're geeking out a little bit on Tesla. But the whole point of this story is the fact that because of the care that you've taken to answer people's questions and the fact that you kind of positioned yourself as the Tesla data guy, and that's what people want to know, you were able to win your way to this really cool, amazing prize. And whether there's a prize or not, I mean, there are often JV partnerships where there's a small window where whoever gets the most leads or whoever gets the most sales, there are prizes. Those can be very motivating. So if you have your own product to sell, perhaps to move your affiliates, you want to dangle a little bit of a carrot for them too. But from the affiliate person, the people doing the selling for those products, being genuine, being honest, being authentic, and truly being helpful will get you a really long way.
Yeah, I can't believe it. I think this year to date we have through my code, I have about 67 people that have bought Teslas with it.
That's crazy.
Which, I mean, you're approaching $7 million in product sales through one affiliate. I mean, it's funny. They have an API that they opened up, and I built a little dashboard on it to show they've made over $1 billion through the referral program in Tesla sales overall. And I mean, that's insane. I mean, there's no company where I think $1 billion is a small amount of money, right?
Yeah, especially through referrals specifically.
Yeah.
And attract referral program. Because I know a lot of things are based on just friends telling friends and word of mouth and stuff. So now that you're going to get this Roadster, imagine all the new videos you're going to shoot with it.
I have a list. Yeah. And I have actually a lot of folks that want to shoot videos with me with it. The question I still have is like if you were Tesla and this is the Founder Series, by the way. So this is the fully spec'd out one. Mm-hmm. And the people that bought that, there were only 1,000 that they're making. Now, they had to pay $250,000. They had to pay $5,000 that night and then wire the extra $245,000 within 10 days. So if I'm Tesla, I'm probably not going to make the guys that didn't pay anything for it first. I'm probably going to give it to the guys that gave me $250,000. So there's a big question about like how long will me and the other folks that are going to get them or get a steep discount on them, when will we actually get them? It'll probably be, if I'm Tesla, I'm probably making theirs last, right? It's probably not a priority. But yeah, as soon as I get it, I mean, I promised my wife that we're going to go a road trip up the California coast in it, no kids, and just enjoy it because she's been, obviously a huge supporter and really made this all possible. So without her, none of this would happen. So, that's priority one. But along the way, I'll probably be stopping in LA, filming a lot, and then up in San Francisco, I have some friends that I want to meet up with and shoot with.
Well, hey man, I'm in San Diego. And I don't have a Tesla channel, but I will have a channel that's hopefully growing pretty big. I'd love to maybe do a collab with you and get you on my show on YouTube, and we'll figure things out. Anyway, I just want to get in the car once you have it, basically. But dude, no, thank you for telling us this story. I mean, it's a really incredible journey that you've had here from Excel data nerd building courses to now Tesla nerd and known in the industry and now winning cars and stuff. So a lot of important lessons along the way, from just kind of follow your strengths, listen to the signals, and be helpful, and just trying to kind of go with the flow sometimes. I think if I could ask you one last question for somebody who's trying to build a brand who hasn't yet found their signal yet, what would you recommend for them to keep going?
I would say keep trying new ideas, and don't be married to one idea, because that can sink you in some ways, right? Like I was very married to, hey, I'm going to teach you data science. And I mean, I still am like, people want that. But honestly, they don't. They really don't. And it took me a long time to realize that. So I think actually, I don't know if it was your podcast or maybe it's Freakonomics or somebody talked about it, but like the importance of knowing when to quit. And knowing when to say, look, that's not working. Yeah. I need to try something new. And you still have your superpower, right? Like for me, anything I do will always have this element of like looking at the data and making sense of it. But I could probably translate, Tesla stuff into reviewing tech products from a financial standpoint or some other, you know what I mean? So I think keeping your superpower, but then not being totally married to like your first idea. And being open and paying attention to those signals. So, because once you find it, I mean, this has been such a fun journey. I mean, I just can't tell you. I feel like me and Franz, the chief designer from Tesla, are friends now. I see him at every event, and we always hang out for at least 5 minutes. Elon is always MIA because he's Elon, but he gives a presentation and then security escorts him off. He's gone.
He's out, yeah.
Yeah, but hey, you're one of the richest men in the world, blah, 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 all that stuff. So, yeah, I mean, but just it's been such a fun journey. And even though I'm not making, crazy money, I'm having so much fun. And if I had been stuck with that first idea about teaching people data science and didn't let go of it, then I wouldn't be here. And, we probably wouldn't be talking. And so, I would say that was the biggest thing, was just like listening and being open to changing directions. Because when you find your voice, as they say, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, man. Well, I love what you're doing. Thank you so much for being here. Where can people go and check you out?
Yeah, so on my website, I have everything, Teslanomics.co. Also, just on YouTube is the best place to find me. Just search for Teslanomics. Probably if you just search for anything Tesla, you'll find me. But
love it, man. That's how it should be, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, good luck. We'll talk soon and catch up shortly.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Thanks, man.
All righty. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Ben. Again, you can find him at Teslanomics on YouTube and also Teslanomics.co.
I'm doing them interchangeably now. But anyway, hey, Ben, thank you so much for coming on, man. I appreciate it. Super inspirational, especially for me getting into the YouTube space and seeing your success with it in such a quick period of time. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens on my YouTube channel too. So that's smartpassiveincome.com/YouTube. And all the links and resources mentioned in this episode are going to be found on the show notes, which you can find at smartpassiveincome.com/session301. Now, really quick, I want to tell you about next week's episode. So if you aren't yet convinced to subscribe, do that now. Because with the new versions of Ask Pat and the studying I've been doing, I've been learning a lot about coaching and the art of coaching. And this is going to be a really helpful episode for all of you who want to learn how to coach better or do consulting or perhaps even have your own podcast one day if you haven't had one already, where you ask questions and you learn how to interview. What I've learned through studying coaching over the past couple of months in preparation for Ask Pat 2.0 and the SPI Accelerator program, it's just blowing my mind, and I cannot wait to share my findings with you in episode 302 coming out next week. So make sure you subscribe to the show so you can get that. Until then, keep crushing it. Again, my name is Pat Flynn, here to help you make more money, save more time, and help more people too. I appreciate you. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Passive Income Podcast at www.smartpassiveincome.com.
More people dream about building their own business and being their own boss rather than retiring early. But a majority of them never even take the first steps to register the business. Why? Because starting a business can feel overwhelming. With legal forms, paperwork, finances, it's a lot. And that's where Taylor Brands comes in. Taylor is a complete business builder designed to make launching your business simple and stress-free. You can register your LLC in just minutes, keeping your personal and business assets separate from day one. And from there, you can get access to everything you need to get off the ground, from legal documents, licenses and permits, invoicing and bookkeeping tools, and even a 100-day business coaching program to help you hit the ground running. You'll also get a free personalized business plan, branding tools, and so much more. And of course, our listeners get an exclusive 35% discount to get started. Just head to taylorbrands.com/SPI. That's TAILORBRANDS.com/SPI. Stop dreaming, start building with Taylor Brands. Look, I get it. You want to grow your business, but trying to sell to hundreds or even thousands of people gets very exhausting very fast. But what if you could sell at scale with a simple, powerful quiz? Score App helps you sell to more people without adding more to your plate. You build a quiz or assessment that your audience actually wants to take. Then they answer a few quick questions and get a personalized result right away. It shows them where they're at and what they need to do next and how you can help. And you build huge amounts of trust before you make even a single offer. No hard sell, no chasing leads, just value at scale. Get 50% off the first 3 months using the discount code SPI. All you have to do is just head to scoreapp.com/SPI. Again, that's scoreapp.com/SPI.